So yeah, Yale is really sticking it to A&M Galveston here. This is a bit of one of those mismatches.
I'd say so.
A couple of All-Americans out there against the best team from the Southeast. Sailing, unfortunately, well, there are pluses and minuses, but
They're
a
here.
bit of a geocentric sport in 2013. Most of the sailing talent concentrated in the Northeast and the Middle Atlantic, with the exception of just a couple schools, Stanford being one of them in the West Coast, and College of Charleston being another down in the Southeast, but or the South Atlantic. South Atlantic also starting to draw some more talent from around the country as well, to schools like Miami, Florida.
The Bulls, always a contender.
Yep.
The host Bulls, I should say.
USF and Eckerd both had a very good showing at women's.
And on the short end of the stick in the team racing, as CESA only got one berth to this Nationals this year.
Yeah, devastating for USF. They hosted that regatta right here. They showed up, they finished second, and they didn't get to sail in their own Nationals because they didn't have enough teams come to the regatta. So I think college sailing is going to be looking at the whole system of all these shifting berths. It was pretty difficult, I'd say, for us to keep track of all that all season long, and I think it's difficult for those who make those decisions in ICSA to keep track of all that in the middle of the season. But they're here, and we're all enjoying this national championship.
I certainly am. Best seats in the house.
Well, the next race after this one, this is race 81. Yale defeating Texas A&M Galveston. Race 82 is next. That'll be BC versus Washington. And those boats, I believe, are almost, yeah, they're at the starting line, but I don't think they're in sequence just yet. So we're holding tight. We did, during the break, we did have some conversation on the chat room. And thanks, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and sign in on live stream here and ask us. We'll may not get to your questions right away, but we'll get there. One was about tiebreakers. If there's a tiebreaker, what is the deciding factor? And in I guess it's the same in college as it is in all team racing. It's the head-to-head. And since this opening round is just one race for each team matches every other team once, that'll be a one-and-done tiebreaker. So in the case we were talking earlier about Hobart and Navy, they had identical records.
And BC.
Yeah, and BC will be in there as well. They have identical records. You look at the head-to-head matchups. Now, the only tricky thing there is in the case of a three-way tie, and we've seen this before. If you have a three-way tie and one team's beating the other and the other's beating the other, and it just goes around in a circle.
That's why they stick to one round robin here for the qualifying rounds, so that we never have to deal with breaking ties, unbreakable ties.
Right. And I believe in college sailing, if a sail-off is possible, that's the next tiebreaker. If it's not possible, then you look at the actual individual finishes of the races, who got the lowest number of points. But in college sailing, if there's time for a sail-off, they'll actually do that. And so that would be how you break a three-way tie. But in the case of two teams tied, it's real easy. You just look at the race where they match each other, and whoever won wins the tiebreaker. Well, I apologize to everybody who's been patiently waiting for us to come back on the air. I couldn't tell you exactly what happened. It seems like some of the equipment we're using can't handle the bandwidth that we're sending out this high-quality video coming from high atop the grounds here at Magnuson Hotel Marina Cove. You're checking out the red and blue boats. This is Boston College versus Washington. And BC in blue looks like they do have the winning combo here. But it's a close one up in that choppy stuff around Mark 1.
Yeah, certainly Washington has two boats in 5th and 6th. And what we missed was Yale crossing ahead of Texas A&M in that last race.
Oh boy, UW spinning a circle here to really put the icing on the cake for BC.
But they still have the one. Looks like BC is going to try and just sail around.
Zeke,
Excuse me.
Have you finished your puberty.
My puberty.
year?
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
It's all this talking. I'm not used to talking this much like you.
Yeah, right. Tell me you don't talk this much in your everyday life.
What if I just stop talking for the rest of the day? You have to do this all by yourself.
I guess that's true. You can just hop on a plane and go home.
Well,
So
feisty
obviously,
words from Chris Love.
Obviously, you viewers at home can tell you haven't missed too much. Things are where we left it. Yale took the win. BC is leading this one.
So BC would move into a 5-7 record, which would tie Hobart Williams Smith for the last spot in the gold round as we are right now. Excuse me, that's incorrect. Navy is 6-6 in the 8th spot. So Hobart and Boston College would be just one race off of making the gold round if they're able to hold on to this lead. And coming up next will be Charleston in green versus Georgetown in orange. They're probably they're racing, aren't
It
they?
looks like they're off the line. We missed it. They're buried behind that that pier over there. But yeah,
We should pay attention. It looks like Georgetown had a pretty good start. I can't quite see where the third boat for Charleston is. Not typically a good sign. And actually, they're like extremely far behind, aren't they?
whoa! What happened there? How on earth
Which boat is that?
did that green boat get so far behind? Zeke, I don't know. Your Cougar's not looking
If that's
strong.
Mac Mace, I'm just gonna freak out. Can we see a sail number? Well, either way, Georgetown is just smoking them.
And this is unlike
Who is that?
the Cougars.
Does that say 13?
No, it's 12. That is boat 12.
That is absolutely Mac. He's sitting in the middle of his boat.
What are the coaches for College of Charleston thinking right now, Zeke? What are they saying?
I need more Altoids, man.
Sounded like maybe a Ward.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ward the Wizard. It sure is light and choppy there. And that was boat 12, we said? And last. I don't really know the green numbers. What is that threesome of boats? I don't think it was a 12, Chris, because those seem to be 13, 14, and 15. I bet it was 13, though.
It probably was.
And
It's
that
got
would
a
be
curvy
Mac.
top.
That'd be Mac
It kinda
Mace and
looks
Corey
like-
DeCalibus
Yeah.
just sixing their little tushes off. So we missed the start, obviously, but clearly went pretty well for the Hoyas, as it seems they're in a 1-2-3. Might be hoping for this race to get called off on account of light conditions.
Yeah, this breeze is dying. I don't think I've seen it quite this light today. It's odd. You know, it looks like there's more breeze back here, but I think that's really just the current line churning up the water, making it look like
And what you guys are missing
wind.
at home, Chris is doing a great job of pointing to the monitor at what he's talking about when he says right here. He is actually pointing to a breeze line and a current line.
it's just
somewhere
for
on
your,
that course.
For your benefit.
It's just
Zeke,
for my
in
benefit,
case you don't know.
because I couldn't see it.
Right.
For you guys at home, you'll have to use your imaginations, but so you know, Chris Love is pointing. Quite accurate, I'd say, too. Well done.
Thanks.
Well, I'm not having fun anymore. I want Charleston to be doing better. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is just they're getting taken to Housetown, as Coach Ward likes to say. So the emotions certainly running high. The ups and downs of a Team Race Nationals are pretty wild. We saw Charleston today losing to Yale right off the bat, which is heartbreaking, coming off a loss to Roger yesterday. And then they get a huge win against Stanford, and they're back on top of the world. And now I can't imagine that they're all that happy right now. But this is just the first beat, and it is whacktastic out there, so it's not over until it's over.
We got a question online from Debbie Noble. What's the wind forecast for this afternoon? And we're hearing, we don't actually, I haven't looked, but we're hearing now it looks like it's supposed to get even lighter. So that's not good. We've been seeing some wonderful afternoon thermals over the past week, breeze in the 5 to 15 range.
And even now
But
looking
so
out.
it sounds like this is actually according to schedule here, according to the forecast, what's happening now, this breeze tapering off. And this is really a problem, not getting through the preliminary round before the breeze comes down like this. As we mentioned, the rotation gets slowed down by being so far out. It gets further slowed down by teams having to take so long to sail all the way back and forth to the course.
And thinking pessimistically here, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but I believe the schedule as far as races is a little bit, it's up in the air. It's up to the disposal of the race committee. So, you know, if we are just able to finish this round today and dying breeze, they could just go straight into a Final Four tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, it's really up to the race committee, and they'll base that decision on the forecast as well as how many races they've completed. They could go straight into a Final Four.
They could just have a Final 8 and call it a regatta.
They could finish the Final 8. Yep. If they didn't think, if they needed an in-betweener, they could do a Final 6. I mean, it's really
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Their goal is to do, as we said, this round and then a top 8, bottom 6, followed by a Final 4. But they are not stuck to that. They can do as they please. A nice little gust on shore for us. Maybe they'll move the races back in.
Yeah, this is odd. Some funny things are happening. Right where we're sitting, the wind just came up from.
You guys can probably see over the land in the distance there. There's that kind of wispy, hazy cloud cover over the land. Not typically a good sign in the South Florida area. The last few days, we were seeing those cumulus sea breeze clouds kind of building up. So maybe not the best outlook on the day, but hopefully it'll stick in long enough to get this done.
Well, just to review what we've got going on, the red and blue boats is Boston College, and it looks like they're going to win this race against Washington Huskies, adding a W for the BC Eagles. And Charleston, you know, we're going to have to ask somebody what happened at the start.
I don't think we're going to want to ask anybody.
Maybe a non-party.
It's too bad we missed it.
But just getting crushed off the line, Georgetown kind of out for a pleasure cruise. They're just hoping that the wind is going to stay up long enough for them to finish this race. And
can we maybe zoom down towards those Georgetown boats in orange?
Orange and green, yeah.
Let's see if maybe anything's come together a little bit. It looks like maybe it has. Right? No.
The top two
Pardon
are
me.
still, top two are still.
Top two are fairly
way far ahead.
Advantaged.
Well, while we're down here, we do have the next start of the next race, and that is Brown versus Stanford. And this ought to be a good one. 2 of the top records for the week. This is race 84, Brown Bears in light blue and Stanford in pink. Right off the line, you've got a Stanford boat way behind after spinning a couple circles here. Boat 18, that's the high boat for
It should be
Stanford.
Oliver Toole and Haley Kirk. And as you say, really close in the standings right now, actually tied on wins and losses, 9-2. Tied for second. So a big race here for those guys.
So as we mentioned, some teams thinking about qualifying for the next round. These two teams really thinking about a national championship at this point. Well, hopefully they're focused on just this race, but this this particular race could come down to it when we're tallying final scores in the Final Four.
It looks like Stanford might have the one there in boat 16, which would be Kevin Laube and Kelly Ortel. Look like they're fighting for the one, and at this point, that's what they're thinking. Hang on to that one. Try to go play one with boat 17 being Kieran Chung and Yuri Nemakawa. And there's a pass back attempting to happen as we see boat. Yep, a nice pin by Oliver Toole, and Kevin Laube gets freed up a little bit. But as we've talked about all day, they certainly do not have an ace. So if you are, if you're Brown right now, things are okay. You're nice and tight, really close race, so they're going to be right in the hunt. Especially with Brown in boat 6 there, getting out to the right, becoming a pretty good threat. That's a good job.
You mentioned Kevin Lobby earlier. Did you know that Mateo Vargas and Kevin Lobby regularly climb huge rock faces in the area around their campus out in Stanford, over 1,000 feet during their weekends off? Luckily, they're good enough to make it back in one piece for the next day of practice. That little piece of information coming from Tally Buckstaff.
Thanks, Tally. I was dying to know. So a little bit of a break there for Stanford as a lefty comes in, and Tommy Fink, who's that far right boat for Brown, slips pretty far back, and Stanford's able to extend that 1-2 a little bit, and they're just hoping that their teammate in the 6, which is I believe Kieran, can climb back into this and grab an ace for him.
Just get an updated wind forecast here. Debbie Noble was asking us online. The forecast is, if we're looking at the hourly forecast, is for this afternoon, wind low, down in the 2 to 4 range. That's supposed to be at 2 p.m., which is still another hour away. But then we do have a forecast for it to come back up to the 6 to 8 range this evening around 5 p.m. So I'm thinking it is possible we're going to put in a long day here, even if they do have to break for the wind, thinking that it will probably come back and get more racing in this evening.
It's a good
Although
thing
right
I'm
now
getting
it's
paid
back
hourly.
At the moment, it looks pretty good, though.
Yeah, and at the moment, Stanford looks like they have a relatively comfortable play 1 at the top. Those guys for Stanford just so fast, all 3 of them. Great wheels and able to extend away from Brown here. But their ace, or lack thereof, still pretty far back.
That's troubling. We've seen it happen a couple times this today, where the 1-2 is not a sure thing around the last couple legs.
So see if Brown can stay close and try to chase down this leg. There's actually quite a bit of a gap between the 4 and the 5 for Brown. Sail numbers 5 and 6, you can see boat 6, Tommy Fink, really got stuck out there on that right side.
Talk about stuck. Look at the last place boat for Stanford. Better be careful pumping his sail. The umpire's right behind him.
And correction, that is Oliver Toole, I believe, and the high boat for Stanford, boat 18.
Oliver Toole, no kidding, is a world-class Irish dancer.
What?
Yeah, no competitions and stuff, I'm telling you.
Are you sure they weren't just messing with you on the questionnaire?
It's entirely possible, but I heard it from more than one person that he has, and all the other information has been legit, so I have no reason to doubt Oliver Toole's ability to do Irish dancing, and we certainly should ask him about that later.
So maybe coming up on the starting line, the next race will be between Roger Williams in black and Navy in yellow.
I think they're still sailing out, but we should see that.
Yeah, it looks like they're just
They're
getting to the
almost
starting
there,
area
yeah,
now.
so we should see them going into sequence. I have a feeling the race committee probably hitting that 3 minutes as soon as the boats are in the vicinity of the starting line. We'll let you know when that one starts. For now, Brown and Stanford marching downwind, just hoping that the wind is going to fill on their side of the course. We're going, when you hear us talking about names of sailors, we're going by what the coaches told us in terms of who is going to be high, middle, and low. But it's possible that we do have that mistaken. Apparently Tommy Fink, we're hearing from our fans online, is usually in the low number, so we'll have to change that on our notes. We had him in the high boat, but that could also be my fault taking that down.
Seems likely.
Yeah. I wouldn't blame Coach John Mollicone for that one.
And here again, we've got a really nice puff of breeze further to the right as well. Down here, sitting on shore under our tent. Maybe it's out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to look on shore for indicators. You know, we've got the out in front of us, you can't see this, but we have some flags on boats, flags on shore. It does seem to be kind of swirling in this cove, but the wind may be coming further left than it was just a few minutes ago. Well, anyway, Stanford around Mark 4 now. And they've got the 1-2.
So able to hang on that downwind. Kudos to Stanford. That's not easy.
So looks like Roger Williams and Navy are just off the line now, or are they still in their pre-start sequence? Those boats look like they're going upwind. Let's just pull back and get a bigger view. We really can't see from our
Looks
vantage
like I
point
think they're
down
just
here.
warming up.
So
Yeah,
I
heading back
think
to the
they're
line.
I think they're in sequence now. This one will be Roger Williams in black, Navy in yellow for race 85. Race 85 out of 91 in this preliminary rounds, and it looks like either we've got the wrong graphic up, or again we can blame my typing skills, because that is Temig, not Navy. Yeah, that was me making more mistakes.
It's so unlike you.
It is unlike me. Take our word for it. That's Roger Williams in black, Navy in yellow.
So maybe we zoom back into the Stanford race. It looks like the 1 might be doing a little bit of balancing. The pink and blue boats on the last beat. There's that first Stanford boat, and it looks like Brown, boat 4, who may or may not be Tommy Fink, is getting pretty advantaged on the left. So you can see boat 16 for Stanford starting to rag, and this is where it becomes so important to have that ace in the hole, which we do not believe Stanford has.
We saw this happen just a few races ago, that the middle of that last beat can be big difference in wind from one side of the course
but
to the
boy,
other.
what a gap between the top 3 boats and the rest of the field, and there is
Wow.
that lack of an ace there. Boat 18 just sitting in a hole. So lucky, kind of a lucky break there for Stanford, that 1-3 pass back has such a gap between the rest of the field, and they might have a little bit of time to get it done. Although it doesn't look like they're going that aggressively into that pass back, does it?
No, I think they're
There
thinking.
they go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they're thinking speed pass back, just because the way the boats are positioned. They don't want to compress this race. They want to keep that 1-2 way out in front. But now Brown's getting into it. Tommy Fink double tacking there. Now, if you're seeing these roll tacks and thinking, hey, wait a minute, you can't do that. You got to remember, in college, the rules are different. You're allowed to accelerate out of attack. That's not true at other team races or in any other sailing outside of college. You're supposed to come into the tack, or supposed to come out of the tack the same speed you went into it. But in college, they let you do it as long as your mast goes away from vertical and back to vertical just once. They let you do those big aggressive roll tacks, and we're seeing Brown using that to get around Stanford here. Is he going to be able to pinch him off from that position?
Stanford just had a really bad tack there.
Tommy Fink positioned to leeward and ahead of that Stanford boat. That's the low boat from Stanford.
That'd be Oliver Toole.
And trying to pinch off going up. Boat 17's trying to foot the middle boat from Stanford, trying to foot back down and get control, but it's so slow.
And typically, if you're Stanford right now, you could say, all right, forget it. Let Tommy Fink in boat 4 go be the 1, and we'll go play 2. But our 6 is so far behind, and now look at
that.
6
dialing down. Whoa, he came pretty far down on starboard there. We may have an umpire call coming up.
You better hope so. If you're Stanford, things aren't looking so good right now. Brown's doing a nice job sailing in the cheese, and there it is, a foul or a penalty turn for Stanford. And now Brown with a comfortable 2-3, and I would imagine about to have a 4.
And that was a voluntary penalty turn. No call from the umpires.
And here goes boat 6 back, so don't quite have the 2-3-4 yet, but Brown is going to try and go play 2. Should be just a short balance here to get their teammate out of 5th. And if
Hold
you're
on.
Stanford in boat 16, you need to be going backwards to the next brown boat to try to go play 4 since you have the 1.
So this race that was so spread out, now getting compressed at the finish line. The lead boats run out of room. They're going to have to cross the line and take that 1. But Brown doesn't fall for it. They're going back. So Stanford's crossed the line in a 1, and that boat's now out of the equation.
But remember, if you're Brown, the goal is 2-3-4, but a 2-3-5 wins. So these 2 and the 3 don't want to get too aggressive here. Boat 5 for Brown simply needs to get across the finish line. And with that deep 6 for Stanford, it shouldn't be a problem. But I don't know why boat 16 isn't sailing back to boat 5.
Yeah, crossing the line here is not going to do anything for them.
Now they're going to go, it seems. So boat 5, if they can just get across the line, it's going to be good enough to get the win for Brown.
Is he laying? Maybe he's not laying the line. 16 could be pinning.
I don't know.
He's inside of him. He's inside, and that's going to be...
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy, attack there. That was surprising.
That looks like Brown is across, so
And
barring any foul situation there, it looks like Brown's going to get it done. Again, too little too late for Stanford trying to go back into play 4. They needed to do that earlier.
Yep, so Brown holds on.
See if there's an umpire call here. Doesn't look like it.
There's some pointing, but I don't see any flags.
But everybody is kind of holding up there, waiting, maybe just talking to the umpire. So looks like it's going to go into the books as the win for Brown. So that's 2 losses in a row for Stanford.